Okay, we started broadcast 78 this time. It's the 12th of 12, December the 12th, 2017. Your hosts are Fanie, Reynders and Maarten van Stam, myself. And today we have two guests, Botha van de Vyver and Jonathan Bryden. I hope I pronounced your names right.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Yeah, good evening, guys.
South Africa?
Yes.
Wow. Lots of South Africans today. I feel like a minority today.
You feel like an immigrant, Maarten. So how are you guys doing in sunny South Africa, I believe?
Well, yeah, this last week it's been raining quite a lot, which is awesome. You know, the drought in the Northern Cape. So we can't complain. But yeah, from tomorrow it's sunny, 31 degrees. All good.
Nice.
We have snow over here.
Remember, Maarten, the last time I was casting, this time of year last year, I think, I was also in South Africa.
Yeah. Also,
then,
no snow.
No snow. But it was quite hot that time as well.
Oh, we have died snow today.
It's been snowing here for like 3 days, I think.
Yeah,
Sure.
well, I think it's closing down today, and tomorrow it's turning all rain. So
yeah, and that's the worst. Having the wet snow.
Yeah,
it all becomes sludge, and it's not pleasant.
First world problems.
I must say that I don't seldomly ride my bike as a South African Dutchie. I must actually be a bit ashamed. But the other day I was going to the shop with my bike and it was snowing, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go with the bicycle." And I was like, maybe this isn't a good idea.
Great.
So as I got out, I was like, "No, I'm gonna go inside. I can't ride my bike." And I walked to work, and everyone had sleighs, and it was fun in the snow. There was not one person with a bicycle. So it's like, maybe that was a good idea.
So let's start with some news, maybe. And
yes.
I'm not sure if it is news, but let's see about it. Put in focus on screen. It's back again. The foldable phone turns up again in the new patents from Microsoft. So they're probably still working on this. Have you heard about it?
I haven't heard about it, no.
It's some sort of a foldable phone, and the last suggestion was that they were working on a special hinge to create a foldable phone. This time they're more focusing on how the vision works on the screens and stuff. But I certainly seem to be working on one of these foldable thingies.
Do you think that the Surface Book will eventually also be something like that? Or the laptop or something?
Well, this is a phone format, so yeah, this is definitely a small device.
Yeah, but the technology in it, if you think about the whole QLED or whatever they're using there, that can fold without breaking, you can surely apply that to any tablet or laptop.
These rumors have started years ago already with when they first mentioned the Courier device that never made it to the market. And last couple of months there seems to be appearing some more information on these foldable thingies. So what do you think about it?
Maybe it's fake news. We don't know.
Well, if you think about one of my first handsets was a Motorola V360. So on a Google.
Yeah.
Don't give away age there, Botha.
That was a foldable phone. So I don't know what's the hype about.
You can say this is it's a clamshell but sideways.
Yeah. it's a little bit ironic that Microsoft is bringing out a foldable phone, given that the mobile did fold.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but still, they maybe they come with an Android phone. You never know, and
Yes.
put all the Windows stuff on it, because there's a lot of Microsoft software available for whatever phone you like. If you go to the iOS
Yeah.
store, the top applications over there are Microsoft top applications, I think. So
Yeah, so I'm just joking actually. I used to be a Windows phone lover myself. So I've now got the S7 Android, and I'm running Microsoft Launcher. You know that?
Yeah, I use it also as well.
Yeah, so it just brings that familiarization of the Windows phone back.
What is the launcher? Sorry for my ignorance.
It's a Microsoft launcher. Is it the Rocket launcher? What's
let me just quickly check here. Launcher settings. So as far as I know, it's called Microsoft Launcher. When you download it from the App Store, it basically makes your Android phone work like the Microsoft phone used to work. And if you go to the search bar to search for your apps, remember that Microsoft on the right-hand side, it had all the A, B, C, D to Z, and you can just scroll through it. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but in any case. So much like the Windows phone used to work. And then it also brings in a lot of the Microsoft applications like Word, Cortana, News, To Do, Xbox, everything into your phone.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. So yeah, well, it's still a guess, and let's see, put the screen up again. We'll see what's happening. The rumor is that what did they say? Expected to introduce a device somewhere next year or 2019. Well, 2019 is pretty far out, I think. So if it's not that next build, then it's most likely the build after that.
But judging from the specifications, if you just scroll up a bit, I don't know if it's just me, but will the phone be that thick, or is that the concept?
I think that's just the concept.
Okay, because
they have double space to put batteries and stuff in there, so
like AAA batteries or something, or what?
Could be fairly small, I think.
Yeah, I'm very skeptical on this thing, because I think personally they missed the boat with this. The same as Apple missed the boat with this whole Face ID. They could have made it beneath the surface of the screen, the fingerprint.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm a bit too extreme, I would say. But
you have the new phone already?
No, not yet.
They will.
I'm gonna wait for the Pixel. I'm gonna wait for the Pixel.
But you get a free one from your work.
I know that, but I'm not gonna use it that often because I don't like it.
Yeah, but you still have to exchange the old one, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Mine will
Luckily.
arrive next Friday.
Are you gonna get the 10?
No, the Simple 8. The other
okay.
One, way too expensive, I think, for what you get.
Just for guests, what is happening is our employer gives us a phone that we pay for every month. That's an iPhone.
That's the detail. Gives us a phone for a small amount every month.
Yeah, for usage every month, but we can use unlimitedly if we want to. But then we have the option of this year of getting a newer Model 8, like the 8S, and also a 10 version. But then we have to kind of purchase extra. We have to sort of pay in 400 euros or something for the 10, but it never ends up our phone. So it's like,
that's a question, because there's an option to buy it afterwards, and depending on what you paid already, there could be a fair amount that you have to pay to make it your own.
Okay, that's interesting.
It is interesting. But I think it's a bit off topic right now. But
And that's only if you like an iPhone. And I certainly don't. So.
No, we don't have iPhones. We won't say we don't like it, but we don't prefer it.
They are boring.
You just write applications for them or what, Botha?
Yeah, you have to.
Yes, unfortunately, our clients make us build applications for it. Yes.
That's a good way of putting it. He made me do it.
Well, as long as they're throwing money at you. So.
Exactly. Shut up and take my money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Let's see. Do we have something next? Oh yes, the always connected PCs. That was last week when we didn't even, we didn't cast last week, so we missed this to discuss. We have already seen the Surface Pro LTE, advanced LTE. That's also one in the category of always connected. And this time it was HP and Asus coming with the, what is it? Qualcomm? Yeah, Qualcomm Snapdragon 535, if I'm correct. Yes, 535. That was quite a disappointment because people were expecting to get an 845 for this. Nevertheless, you get a 22-hour of active use, and that's quite a bit. And they look somewhat like Surface devices.
Oh yeah, it's a mixture between Surface and iPad. I think if you look at the cover.
Yeah, like this thing here.
Maarten, so what does always connected mean?
Yeah, well, always connected in this case means that you have an eSIM in the device, so you can put it on your 4G network all the time, just like you use your phone. And I also think this is the intermediate step for Microsoft to get back in the phones by getting more bigger devices on the same kind of market as you have with your phone. So why do you need another phone with this if you already have this?
Okay.
So my guess is they go from big to small. So I wouldn't be surprised if the next step would be the smaller devices, like the 8 or 7 inch maybe, and then maybe the foldable device. Well, that's pure speculation. So you know as much as I do. So what
Okay.
do you think about it?
Well, it's the first time that I've seen it. Jono?
Yeah, I haven't really heard about that yet. Well,
the interesting part of this is the LTE. It's because they are using an eSIM, so you're provider independent.
That's interesting. For me, it's also an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Because I'm always used to then you have to do a SIM swap. You have to go in and get a new SIM, and you have to phone them and all that kind of stuff. What will be the process now to do that thing? Will it be as simple as going into the website, putting in your SIM number, and voila, or will it still be that same tedious thing?
Yeah, basically you buy a subscription. You can already do that. I think with the Microsoft Store, you can get a subscription with Microsoft.
Okay. The same way Google is supplying a.
Right. Yeah. Google is providing Google Wi-Fi. What is it? What's it called?
It's Google. Let's just see. Google Cellular Network. It is called something else. Project V.
So you don't need a SIM card?
No.
Not a physical SIM card. It's electronic. Well, it's a virtual SIM card kind of thing.
Okay.
The new iPhone 10, I think, works like that. Or what?
Yeah. Yeah. What is it? Apple has already is.
Oh, for the watch. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's in Watch 3, I think. It's also an LTE thing, but that's not available in the Netherlands. Again, but it's well, the idea is you just get a subscription on based on the location where you are. So let's say you go to South Africa, then you can buy a subscription on the airport, whatever, and you don't have to switch SIMs to do that, you just switch provider because the SIM is already in there.
So now you can see my screen. I've just quickly thrown up the website of Project V from Google.
Yeah.
So it's a phone plan, they say, but it's only available in US. But you know, it's quite promising, the prices and stuff, if you look at it. But it's not really covered in Holland.
Well, the interesting thing
Well, it's Holland and US.
that it's actually, if you're an American, it is available in the Netherlands for the ones
For roaming costs.
Yes.
The roaming is also cheaper, I think.
It's the same in the US, for what I believe. So they have a global roaming plan for this, I believe. Paying everywhere the same.
So the plans are here. So you can say, okay, I want 4 gigs of data, calls and texts for one is what, $40 a month. And
what is? Click on the airplane just below.
where?
Just there.
Oh yeah, let's see. Nothing happens.
But it says use data abroad like you would at home. So it's it's basically
unlimited text and no calls abroad.
Yeah.
But this is fairly, you know, if you compare it to Netherlands, this is fairly competitive.
Yeah, even for Americans, because the US provider costs are very expensive compared to what we have in the Netherlands.
In any case.
Interesting.
How's the cell phone providers in South Africa now, Botha?
Yeah, I mean, the competition has really increased the last couple of years, and Telkom Mobile, which came into the space with initially launched as ATA, that then became Telkom Mobile. They've been quite aggressive this last year because you know, ADSL is now obviously fading very fast and being replaced by Vyver. But you know, Telkom is losing 100,000 ADSL lines a month, and they're only replacing it with 10 or 20,000 fiber. So they need to make up their revenue somehow. So they've got quite a big drive on the mobile data and the costs around that. So they've been giving Vodacom and MTN and Cell C quite a run for their money in terms of the competitiveness of especially data. So that's brought and ICASA, which licenses all of this and regulates it, have really brought down the interconnect fees between the providers and stuff. So there's some more plans in the next couple of years to unbundle the stuff and bring the prices even you know, down much more. I mean, I just looked at that price you said, $40 for 40 gig. I mean, for 4 gig. That is actually, you know, in the South African rand value, and I know you can't compare it one-to-one like that, but if you take $40 into South African rand, it's way more than you would pay. Yeah, for, I mean, for $40 you would get like 50 gig, not 4 gig.
Yeah, I think if you look at some videos, they also got a lot of decent packages that they provide for mobile data as well. And they basically just leverage the providers that are currently in place.
Yeah.
And is it also LTE?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. No, it's yeah. Look, it's overall it's basically if you take the whole Europe, for instance, there is unlimited calls and unlimited text and that kind of things, but data is still expensive. And I think even if you compare it relatively, it's still expensive in South Africa as well. It should be cheaper. Data shouldn't be expensive. They take our calls and our SMSs anyway to transfer that things. They transfer it anyway to data. So they they
do.
So it's like they're making triple the amount of money they do anyway.
Yeah, as if there's a difference between voice and data.
Exactly. So
Digital voice.
It's digital. It's analog voice. Actually, me screaming and echoing. And yeah, in any case. No, it's interesting, and it's also very concerning, the monopolies that's around, because there's obvious monopoly somewhere.
Right. Well, let's go to the next one. Let's see.
Yes. It's almost half past.
Most is the now we get some more developer stuff. To share the UI code in any iOS and Android app with .NET embedding with the Embeddinator 3000, if I'm correct. What's it called by these guys?
No idea.
Embeddinator 4000. It is.
Almost there. They're already on the next build, Maarten.
Have you heard about this on the Connect event a couple of weeks ago, when James Montemagno showed us how you can get your .NET DLL and use that in your iOS or Android environment. That's very interesting because you can build your stuff the way you like and using the tools that you're already familiar with, like the C# and your .NET environment. And it's a very interesting post. We put it up in the show notes again. One interesting thing that I noticed at the complete end of this this page is all the way down is let's see, where was it? It said something. Oh yeah, here. This is this only the start. The .NET embedding is also supported to create embeddable libraries for not just iOS and Android, but also Objective-C, Swift, macOS applications, and even C++ code for Linux-based apps. So you can mix and mingle all this stuff all the way around. So
Cool.
this is not the end of it.
So .NET is actually, or they're actually bringing back the applets.
Yeah.
If you
The
think about it.
ActiveX controls.
The ActiveX controls. Yeah.
with a little bit more security, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Probably.
We'll get to security in a bit.
The link to the video is also, I think, included in this blog post. So if you don't know what it is, you certainly have a look at it. And
That's very interesting.
then we have the Fish Studio 2017 version 15.6 preview. Confusing naming with all the other things. Fish Studio 2017 and then version 15.6, and there a preview of that version. You're still with me?
Yeah.
That's released December 7. Also last week when we didn't have show, so we put it in there today. Download it if you are into this stuff. Most of us are.
But that's my one of my favorite things is this new debugging functionality. Have you seen it?
I thought Python development.
No, snapshot debugging.
Yeah, that's my next item. Snapshot debugging with Fish Studio 2017. Now ready for production. So that's not in a preview, but you can use it already in production, I believe. Very interesting stuff. Finally getting rid of your issues when you find some stuff production. Then there is a small event tomorrow and the day after, if I'm correct. Wednesday the 13th. Sadly, I can't go can't attend to this one because we have the Star Wars premiere tomorrow. Too bad I have to miss this. Maybe in a rerun then. And Thursday the 14th. That's the I think the 13th was the Oreo version with Android, and the next day is iOS 11, and combining that with Visual Studio Tools for Xamarin, obviously.
It's interesting why they actually split it up into 2 days.
Yeah. While most of the time they try to mix him, to do that in one.
It's probably because it needs to compile for one platform and needs to compile for a different platform.
That's what I think. and maybe they have an iOS expert and an Android expert.
Maybe, yeah, that's also maybe one of the things. Okay.
Last week also Visual Studio 2017 version 15.5, but that's the release version, I believe, for Visual Studio for Mac released, and that's basically Xamarin Studio with the Visual Studio code on. That was last week, and then another one for last week was announcing Azure Functions Runtime Preview 2. And what it is, I believe, is that you can use your Azure Functions on-prem. So you download the runtime for Azure Functions, and then you can build and run your functions, on your own site.
But also you can, with 2, you can run it on .NET Core.
Yes, that's what I found somewhere as well. Indeed, yeah.
Which is very interesting.
.NET.
Some of the guys that I've been seeing on Twitter have been doing this for quite some time, after a few hacks and stuff. But now it's actually cool to see it's actually being integrated natively.
Yeah. So that's a bit about the news for this week. There's not that much news going around because we are getting close to the holidays, and but I think there was some interesting stuff to show you. We are halfway the show now, so let's move over to our guests, I think.
Okay, so we're not going to do the events. We're going to quickly go through them.
Well, the events a bit quickly at the end because most of them are next year. There's nothing.
Okay. All right, yeah. So let's go over to our guests. Welcome again, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
So yeah, if you can give us a quick introduction of yourselves, what you guys are doing, who you are, where you're from.
Okay, so we are from South Africa, from a company called Just Solve. I can just quickly, let me also just share my screen with you.
It's just Maarten, make sure the focus is there on him. I don't know if you're there now.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so this is basically our website. We a bunch of geeks. So me and Fanie know each other and come a long way from 2003. And the developer community in South Africa is quite small, and everyone sort of knows everyone. So when I decided to start Just Solve in March, April last year, we basically looked at a couple of platforms to support our clients, and we were looking at a product to build internally as well. So the product we wanted to build internally is what we're going to demo to you. It's a product called Centricity. But we as the investors and the client of the product, were looking at rapid application development and ease of maintenance. And we also come, myself and Jonathan, from a .NET background. We were software developers for 10 odd years, and we've been doing architectural work for 4 or 5 years as well. So we come from the custom development background, and we were very skeptical at first. We looked at platforms like Mendex and K2 and Appium and a lot of these platforms. At the end, we came across OutSystems, and if you go to outsystems.com, that is the #1 low-code rapid application development tool currently on the market. So we decided to become partners, and yes, we haven't looked back since then. So now you ask, what is a low-code platform? Okay, so a low-code platform is basically where you still have the freedom to customize the code. So you still have the freedom to put custom CSS, custom JavaScript, custom C#, etc. in your application, but you don't have to. So if you're a junior developer, you could get to speed quite easily on the platform. What we did found is that the senior guys, number one thing that they struggle with, senior developers coming onto this platform, because this platform is a visual designer, and it just takes care of so many patterns and practices and things that you don't need to think about. The biggest challenge is to just think simpler. The guys tend to overcomplicate most of the problems that they face because of the nature of custom development. When you and Fanie, I know, and Maarten, you guys can relate to this. I mean, if you start developing something from scratch, the amount of technology decisions you need to take to just decide how. I'm not even saying what are you going to build. It's just how you're going to build it. Are you going to go directly with stored procedures to the database? Are you going to use a database, or you're going to use a NoSQL database? If you use a database, do you use Entity Framework? If you use Entity Framework, which version do you use? Do you use, which approach are you going to take? Are you going to go model first, data first, etc., etc.? So the amount of things you need to think about just becomes, it's a lot of things the senior guys take for granted, but for junior guys, it's a lot of things they need to take into consideration, things they need to learn and consider. And there's always new technology on the horizon, and
Exactly.
a developer always wants to jump on the latest bandwagon and just explore it. And that's a lot of the time it's at the cost of the customer. It's at the cost of someone. Someone's paying for that research and development. And we at JustSolve are more solution driven. So our motto is your solution provider. So, our take on it is that we want to provide as quickly as possible as much business value to the client as quickly as possible in an iterative manner, without compromise. And to achieve, how do we achieve that? We achieve it by writing code only when necessary, otherwise pulling in pre-developed components and pre-developed services. So if I go to the OutSystems community, there's an online marketplace, but it's free. It's not a marketplace. It's just a place where you can look at the components that's available. So here you can see there's a Twilio connector. Give me something quickly. If you want to integrate with something, what do you want to integrate with?
SQL Server.
Okay, that's out of the box, but maybe.
Does it have native Azure integration?
Yeah, so I see you on the right is machine learning. There's Azure Cognitive Services.
That's a good example.
Alexa. So these are components that's already built that you can now just. Sorry?
So these are connectors that's being built on the platform that you can just log in, hook up, and use.
Yes, you can use that. And you see here on the right-hand side, it says Stack, it says .NET and Java. Okay, so first thing about OutSystems is that it runs, it can either run on .NET or on Java. They've developed it for both, so you can deploy it to IIS or you can deploy it to JBoss, okay? And it can run on Oracle, database, MySQL, and SQL, okay? But with .NET Core coming along now and making it cross-platform, there is talks of discontinuing Java in 2022, so the guys can focus on the .NET Core because it's cross-platform. So I would, if I install this and run with it, I would go the .NET route. But what OutSystems does that's different from other low-code development environments, it actually generates C# code for you.
That was my next question. Because if you just quickly go a step back on what low-code means, it's a way to quickly pump out an application without thinking about technology, without thinking about lines of code and plumbing and that kind of things, right?
Yes.
And you just said now it's a way of what differentiates itself between the other competitors. It actually generates the code, which means it allows you to sort of change it then, right?
Yes, but you don't see the generated code. We will go into the IDE now,
Okay.
as well to show you guys what we talk about. As I go into the web, or
Yeah, I think going to the web there.
yeah, okay. So you don't see the generated code. The generated code happens when you actually deploy to or when you compile. There's a compilation server that takes the code that you compile and puts that into C#. But because this is running on .NET platform, you can actually go and create. So, for instance, you have a complex formula to calculate. I don't know, to calculate something. Okay, you can actually go into C# and you can develop that component as a DLL. Then you use. So we're in Server Studio, but there's another IDE called Integration Studio, which you would then use to publish that DLL into Server Studio and onto the platform. And then your developers can use it. And they will see the component, but they won't know what the internals are. They'll just see this. These are the inputs and this is the outputs.
So basically, you also have an embeddinator.
Yes. Exactly. But this is the embeddinator.
6,000.
At least. So there's actually so many things to cover. So JustSolve is the biggest implementation partner of OutSystems in Africa, and we've now expanded into Australia as well. So we've got a justsolve.com.au email address as well. Web address, which the guys can go check out, and they can contact us if they're more than welcome to contact us if they need any information. We are allowed to sell OutSystems licenses, being a partner. So we're not just an implementation partner, but we're able to sell the licenses as well. So, Jono, you're going to take us through this quickly?
Just a quick question before you start, Jono. Running the application, does it need to have OutSystems runtime or something running? Or can you just take the compiled Windows-based or Java-based?
Yeah, you have to have the OutSystems. You have to have a platform license to run it. What I also need to quickly mention. Do you want to maybe quickly open Lifetime?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple of things that's built into this platform. Okay, it's not just the IDE. What you just saw was the IDE, but what we also have is we have a service center, which will go into all the configurations and all the monitoring and the logs and all of that. And then we've got a Lifetime, which basically is your main controller that controls all your environments. So say for instance, you've got a development environment, a testing environment, and a production environment. The moment you want to deploy your code from one environment to the next, Lifetime facilitates that. So it would actually, it's also your deployment server and your build server, your continuous integration is baked into the platform, as well as your source control. So we'll show you now when we make a change and you actually publish, it goes into the source control. So you can see here that the environments, we need to do a cleanup, I see. The databases are almost full, but you can see here it's a development environment, testing environment, and production environment. Okay, you can see that these two environments are shared, whereas the production environment is dedicated, and there's backups being taken. You can view the logs here. You can restart services. You can upgrade your database.
So this is all running on somewhere in a data center, Or
Yes, we're currently running this on AWS as a managed service, a cloud service in Amazon.
So they have a OutSystems cloud managed server.
Yes.
Service.
Yeah, and then on Azure, there isn't a managed service, but there is a virtual machine image.
Yeah, so they basically got a platform as a service kind of offering, and then they also have an on-premise offering where you basically then just go and host that in Azure, right?
Yes.
Or you can obviously go and host it on your own infrastructure, but essentially it's just the software that's basically installed the platform.
So what you can do is also you can go into Azure and create a template yourself, set up the stuff you guys want, and then there we go, have a template, an OutSystems template in Azure. You guys can put a nice form and then roll it out.
You can, but OutSystems already created that for you. So
okay, they already have that. Okay.
Yeah. Good. So here's the service center. I mean, you can see here under monitoring, you can look at errors, general web requests, mobile requests, integrations, extensions, timers on the platform, SMSs, emails, processes that's running, environmental health. Jonathan, you can maybe take us through this, just briefly.
Okay, so essentially the monitoring aspect will basically give you an overview of all the requests coming into the environment. So, for example, the web requests would basically be all of the requests to the pages made within the system. Mobile requests would basically just be the...
So would you use this for fault finding? What would you use this for?
So essentially we would basically just be making use of the errors here to understand exactly if there's an error that has been suppressed somewhere. That will typically be logged here, and then we'll be able to get more detail around what happened. You can go into the detail of an error and get the stack trace and all the information relevant to what happened on a specific request. Then there's the integrations.
I don't think we need to click on anything. Just talk us through the main parts of it.
Right, so these will basically be all of the endpoints that are either exposed or consumed. So over here we expose endpoints, and these are the types of services that are being consumed. And then basically, if they're in an error state, that will be logged here. There are extensions. So, for example, if there is some form of functionality that has to be coded into the system that does not get provided out of the box, then you basically go and write an extension. So that would basically be the same as a C# DLL or a .NET DLL that's basically pulled in, and you would go and call that extension. So that extension log is basically to give you the details of all the errors there.
Yeah, and then if you go over to, there's obviously a lot more to...
I think one thing that would be quite interesting would be go to the administration. There was a question around the database connections. So if you would like to connect to an external database, then you'd basically just set that up here.
Okay, so that's a normal connection string that you can reference somewhere else then, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And you can also bring in SEO URLs.
Okay, so you can have your if you have third-party Twilio APIs or my own foo.api. I can reference it and use it. Is it underlying giving me some kind of specification or Swagger or something that I can work with?
Yeah, you know, on IIS you have that URL rewriter.
Yes.
It's similar to that.
Okay. Okay, so it's underlyingly rerouting you to your REST service.
Yeah, it's saying use this URL pattern. Anything that comes in here, redirect it to that module, to that screen in that order.
I see.
And then it would actually, those curly brackets would then actually be query parameters you can use.
And it will go to that screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of options. You can manage the user environment. You can configure your app settings, your security, the zones for extra when you deploy to you might want specific production applications to go to certain web servers and others to other ones, and you set up the zones here. And then when the developers deploy, they don't even know where it's deploying to. It automatically will deploy to the correct server.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's
So just quickly, another question on practicalities. Maybe I'm jumping the gun. As a potential, user of this kind of thing, let's say I'm a customer, I want to get this, but I see all sorts of other modules that's there, like timers and emails, and I saw other functionality. Does that mean I get that out of the box, or can I sort of sculpt my own what I need and only pay for what I need? Or what's the pricing model like here?
Yeah, so you can't actually pay for what you need. You get everything, but the way that the licensing works, it works. Just go to the module quickly with this application AOs. So, okay. So here you can see. So let me quickly show you. Did you click there? Yes. Okay. All right. So it's got two parts to it. There's either you can have a license with unlimited users, but there's user packs. They're sold in 100 users, and then after that they sold in 1,000 users up to the point where you go unlimited. So basically, when you get to 400 users, it's cheaper to buy 1,000 users, and when you get to like 5,000 users, it's almost cheaper to buy an unlimited license. Okay, so that's per user, and then there's this notion of application objects. Okay, so the way that it works is the bigger your application becomes, the more you pay. Okay, so what is an application object? What counts towards an application object? The number of screens, entities, and web services. So each API endpoint would be one AO. Each screen would be one AO, and each database entity or a static entity. A static entity is almost like an enum. So those are one AO each, but all your logic and stuff, the amount of server actions and client actions, that is unlimited. So it's
quick question on that screens. Is all the applications a normal website server-side rendering application, or can I do like something like a single-page application spa, like Angular or React?
You can definitely do a single-page application.
Now, what is then classified as a screen? Is it?
Yeah, it will be one screen. Yeah.
So I can use that, to save money, I would say. So I can
there's different ways. There's different ways of looking at it. You could also use tabs. If it makes sense to put 3 different screens on one screen, then you have 3 tabs, and then it costs 1 AO. But you must always look at maintainability and complexity.
Okay.
So we always just design it the best way, and if AOS is a problem, we would just refactor it later.
Yeah. Because there's obviously something like, I don't know if you guys heard of GraphQL from Facebook. It's like a query language they've developed a while ago. I think it was 5 years ago or something. It's similar to OData, but it's basically one endpoint, and you give your query in that one endpoint through. It's quite cool. It's been adopted by many people or many things. So you can actually use something like that in here as well, because it's all REST, and then or HTTP, and then you actually have one endpoint you pay for, and you can do many things there.
Yes,
it's very cool.
Yeah, and just quickly on lifetime, you can manage your environments here, your applications and your access and your users, and then you've got analytics. So it breaks down your most popular pages in your system. It shows you how many hits you're getting on them. It shows the AppDex score. It shows how much time was taken by the client, the server, and the network, and you can drill into these. You can go into them and you can see, was it SQL or what was the bottleneck. So it's actually very nice. There's all your actions up for that screen, so you can see, okay, to refresh or this specific one is quite expensive. So 72% of the time this query is slow, taking way longer than it should. So you can see it's server side 65%. So this is definitely a backend optimization that needs to happen there. So it gives you full visibility of what's happening on your system. But let's just quickly jump into showing you guys actually what's behind the scenes. Otherwise, we're going to run out of time.
Yes, I would like to see that.
I think the quickest thing that we could do is basically just quickly create a new application that would basically just like manage customer details.
Yeah, let's do an SDN Cast application if you can.
Sorry?
Let's do an SDN Cast application if you can.
Okay, web or mobile?
Maarten, what did you say?
Let's do a mobile.
Mobile application. All right. So
Windows Phone.
basically choose a phone. Cast.
Cat application. Cat.
So basically one of the cool things is if you, for example, pull in a logo, then it'll basically go and let's open that. Then it would basically go and style your application accordingly.
Okay, which will be green and white.
Cool. So once you choose your logo, it will basically set that as your application's icon, and then it will go and create it. So over here you can see that it will set the color to green.
Okay.
So it basically automatically picks that up, and you just select the mobile type of module and it creates a module. So over here you'll see there's a native platform tab. That's basically where the actual the packages for iOS and for Android are created.
Okay.
So basically you just go and configure it here. I think we first have to publish the application before it starts doing something. Okay, so have you guys got like an idea of what we can add in here? So perhaps
Does it have a YouTube? Does it have a YouTube connector?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe you can grab one of our playlists and then just show the videos.
If
it's not too complicated. Otherwise, we can do something else.
No, it's not too complicated. We just quickly need to download the.
No, I'm saying I don't know if you guys planned this or not. That's all.
No, but we like unplanned stuff. If you guys have some more fun.
So if also things go wrong, don't worry about it. My demos always fail on the show. When I do demos, it just fails. I would like to, you know what? But it's good to see this actions in motion, because this is what real developers will go through when they build an SDN app. Go and download the YouTube connector. You know, it's good to see these kind of things.
Yeah, so basically what would happen is once you downloaded the plugin, you basically just double click it and it would basically install on your environment.
Okay.
So over there you can see it's busy installing. It takes a little while to install and then it becomes available to make use of in your application. So all of these Forge components would either be connectors or reusable widgets. So you can, for example, use while it's installing, it will take you through a few cool ones.
Yeah, well, I just also want to mention that JustSolve is also a contributor to the Forge. So we try and also publish Matrix. We also try and publish components to the Forge for the community to use on mobile.
Okay, so you can actually monetize on this platform as well by just doing components. Or not really?
Well, it's actually open. So there you can see the JustSolve.0.0 as that's one of the components that we've published.
Mm-hmm.
That is all.
But is it all free?
Basically calls the Google Distance Matrix API, passes in this origin and then multiple or destination, and then the time that you would leave. And then it would give you the duration, the destination in kilometers, as well as the duration in traffic for that time you're leaving.
Okay.
Cool. So it's basically just been installed. So essentially what you're then going to do is you just go manage all your dependencies. So YouTube player plugin.
Okay, this is we're obviously connecting from my house to Amazon Web Services in Ireland. So just bear with us.
Yeah, now I understand.
So there's a YouTube player plugin, and then you basically just include all of those.
Yeah, you would say which.
Okay, there's just one catch on this. This is a Cordova plugin. So this will basically open. It will make use of the Cordova on the device. So basically, it won't work on our browser.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a trick. So essentially what would happen is that over here it would check the plugin. So if you would like, let's say for example, have a button here, you double click the button, then it'll open up this action where you would then go and first of all check whether you've got the plugin. So essentially what this would go and do, you can also go and write your own custom Cordova plugins. And this would basically make use of JavaScript to check whether the YouTube video player Cordova plugin has been included. And it would then return that. And then if you specified a video URL, then you could basically just put it in here.
Yeah, so what Jonathan is saying is we won't be able to demo this to you now.
Yeah, I understand that. No, I understand it completely. I don't know what else we can maybe just make things up like a table with like a few items.
Yeah, so let's have guests, a table of guest names, and then topics that's discussed, which guest was involved in which topic.
Something like that.
So you still do your normal database design actually on the line if you really want to.
But just to show you something here quickly, do you see these actions on the guest topic? It says create guest topic, create or update, get, delete. All those actions are already, when you define the entity, those actions are already exposed for you. You don't need to develop them.
Create your own CRUD stuff.
Yeah.
Now, the other cool thing is while you're busy designing the entity, so for example, I've created a topic here. So if I just specify topic ID over here, it will automatically note that the data type is mapped out to the topic ID. It automatically infers that.
It infers a lot of stuff. If you use amount, it would infer currency. If you use is available, it would infer Boolean, etc., etc.
Okay.
I think let's just keep this simple, and then we just add this screen. So basically, that would list all of the guests. So you just drag that in, and that will basically just like so. So we would basically just list all of the guests here, and over there we can say new icon. And then you can just link that up to the guest details screen. So yeah, we basically just pass the guest ID in. So if you don't pass an ID in, it will basically infer that it's a new guest. Basically going to have a guest record. Going to create the guest form. So they've got a whole bunch of components that you basically just drag in, and it will create all of the necessary controls for you. So basically, due to the fact that that is a guest data type, it will automatically go and map out all the fields for you. And due to the fact that we pulled in the form object, it will basically go and create a save button for you automatically. So once you click save, it will automatically do some of the validation. So for example, let's say on the guest name, we make that mandatory, then I'll automatically go and do that validation for us. So here we say it's fine, the validation has passed, then we'll just go and create and update the guest that we've specified on that screen. So if here's a guest object, then we just pass that variable through, and that would basically go and create the object.
Okay.
Yeah, we just have to mark that as mandatory too. So over here on the screens, you can go specify whether you allow anonymous access or whether the person must be registered. You can also go and define your own roles here. So let's say this is a manager or something like that. Then that would automatically become available. So then you can do role management from this view.
Okay.
So over here, you basically just link this to the guest details screen, and it's going to require that input parameter for the guest ID over there. So over here, we'll just say that that is a null identifier. And then what you could also do is link these up to the same guest details screen, and you can just pass the current records guest ID through. Okay. So let's just delete that since it does nothing, and then we just pull the link into the guest screen, and we're basically just going to manage guests there. So just want to mark them all as anonymous so I don't have to log in. And there we have our first page to manage guests.
So this is now a cross-platform application that's now actually running on the line.
Well, we're gonna preview it now on a browser, but it would run on Android and iOS.
But will it be a native application or will it be a hybrid application?
It's a hybrid application with Cordova as the base and React.js as the on top of it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So essentially, when you create your package, it would automatically go and download the latest JavaScript, CSS, and HTML, and that would be stored on the device. So each time that you make an adjustment here, well, let me just open it like this first. Sorry, the certificate wasn't applied there. Okay, so I'm just going to press F12 to get the dev tools to just get a mobile preview. So that would essentially be the look and feel that one gets.
Okay.
So basically, if you go to the guest screen, you'd be able to manage all of your guests. There are currently none. So if you click there,
Funny.
Yes, we add Fanie. That would basically go and create it. Sorry, I was supposed to put a redirect in. So while I'm there, let's go over here. So over there, we noticed that if you go into the guest, so basically on the preparation, we were supposed to have an initialization. Okay, so basically what we do is we're going to fetch data from the database, and we would go and fetch the guest based on the ID that we just passed in, and say the guest ID is equal to the one that's just been passed in. And then what you do is you go on after the data has been fetched, you go and set that variable to equal the one that's just been fetched from the database. So that will allow you to update. And the next part was on the save to say,
To redirect.
Once you've been saved, give the person a nice message to say that your data has been saved. And then you basically just redirect to the guest screen.
Cool.
So that's that part.
I just want to show him something. So you see the one-click deploy that's happening now. Do you see here at the bottom, it says generating, compiling, optimized ASP.NET, C# and JavaScript code, and creating SQL scripts.
So it's doing everything like on the fly, packing it,
Yeah.
it, migrating it. Okay.
Yeah, updating SQL Server database model, which is your source control, and deploying the web application to IIS, everything taken care of. And
So,
then,
so just to be clear, we're not running on a shared application or shared database. This is your own database, but this is my own database with my own application just running on IIS.
yes.
Great.
And then you would use Lifetime to deploy the code between the environments.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So basically what would happen is a person would just be in the application and then suddenly his screen would just be updated, and that would say that the latest deployment has just taken place and everything should be in place. So if you go click on Gates now, you go click on Fanie, you'll see that the data is loaded. Change that, then it will be updated there. And you can add new people, and so you basically just carry on.
That's cool. Now, what about security? If I can jump in there, that's an obvious question I want to get to. Is this piggybacking off the normal infrastructure security, or do we need to know something special?
So this OutSystems is an enterprise platform. So it's got a lot of baked in security into it that the developers don't need to think about. It's got anti-SQL scripting, I mean SQL injection. It's got all of those protection mechanisms in there. It's, if I remember correctly, if you have the managed services of this on top of AWS together with that compliance, it's like SOC 2 and ISO, I don't know what, know all those standards. But it's quite secure. There's a lot of links. If you just Google OutSystem security, you'll see the security baked into it as a platform. But inherently, Jonathan.
So effectively, what one would do is you, for example, on your screens, you would go and manage your security through the roles. Another mechanism that you can use to go and manage your security, which obviously won't take place on the mobile application. So let's just quickly go into one of these. Centricity Web. So they've basically also got integration into Active Directory. So they've got integrated security, and they restrict access to pages also on IP level. So if you want to restrict access to internal users, they can do that as well.
Yeah, even your deployment zones, you could if you have an intranet, you could lock down your internal zones and not expose them to the internet, to the outside. There's a lot of security baked into the platform. That's actually one of the biggest selling points is the security and the scalability, because these are things that not everyone, not all developers are familiar with. And if you are a client starting out building your own software, you don't have enough resources to employ a whole team of people to look at all the asset, all the different layers of the application. You want something to take care of all that and let the developers just focus on building the product.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a pity we don't have our SDN Cast application, but I suppose if we work on it a bit more, we can actually get it working.
I think we can definitely discuss what you want, and then we can prepare for that, and then build it in the next.
Exactly. But I must add that building an application, I've timed you guys, it was about 8 minutes, given that we had problems with YouTube and stuff. an application. Yeah, it's a simple screen, but still an application running in production 8 minutes. That is great.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Maarten, what's
I think we should just because we are running out of time, just skip
yes.
the events and the gadget and stuff. Or do you want to share something?
Well, I don't have the gadget. Do you have the gadget of the week?
Well,
The
I
swag of the week?
have a small gadget. Let's focus on my.
So what we do is, guys, we every week we have a swag of the week. It's a sort of a thing that we introduce, like the things we get at conferences and stuff like that that we maybe got like 10 years ago or something that we just feature on the show. So Maarten also comes up with these kind of things. It's actually quite interesting.
Crazy stuff.
Most of these things, because it's using a green screen, most of these things is quite cool because it ends up transparent on the video. It's just very
crazy thing. Let's put my focus on my screen here. Is this thing?
Bit.
You can fold it. It looks like somewhat like a boomerang, or but I don't think it's flying. So I don't think you can throw it away. Yeah, you can throw it away, but it's probably will drop to the ground. But my guess is that it's a cap opener.
No, what it is, it's a stand for the iPad or a phone.
Oh yeah, really? Wow, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's yeah. You can put
That's
it.
what it is.
And then put your.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Fanie, I'll give that one to you.
Yeah.
Because my wife has one. That's why.
Oh really? Wow. Because I was thinking if I use it on one cap, it's probably breaking.
I'm actually gonna try that now, opening a beer with that thing. see if that works. No, it was fantastic talking to you guys. Thank you very much. It was a fantastic demo. It's very interesting raising awareness of these kind of things and these kind of platforms out there. From my side, thank you very much.
Yeah, no, thank you for inviting us, and hopefully we can do a follow-up.
Yes, absolutely.
I think you have more than enough to tell, so let's follow up in a couple of months or weeks or whatever, and see what you can demo next, because it's a very impressive system. I think I'm really wondering what the learning curve is for it. Is it easy or hard to do? We'll try it myself, I think.
So I'm currently busy with my training for certification on the web and the mobile. So I'll be writing my exams on the 18th of December and the 21st. So I'll be able to tell you after that. But
are you guys like traveling abroad to show these kind of things, or just South Africa for now?
No, mostly South Africa. We've got some clients in Mauritius that we do go and show, and then we were in Portugal in September, but that was more for conference, not necessarily for client showing. But there's quite a big partner network out there that is meeting with clients and showing them this. So as a South African partner, we obviously engaging with a lot of clients on this side. But just to answer you, Maarten, if you are a seasoned, I would say if you're an intermediate software developer, 3 to 4 years experience, it would take you 2 weeks to a month to really to get to grips with it, and it would take you about 6 months to get proficient in it.
Wow, that's impressive. Yeah.
Cool. Yes. Yeah, for the ROI, it's very important, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how much is it for licenses? Like 100 seats?
So it depends. I don't have a price list in front of me now, but it starts with 400 AOs. Remember I said the size?
Yes.
So there's 400 AOs, and then there's per user packages. So I don't want to divulge too much, because each region has their own pricing.
Okay, true. Okay. And if it's a managed service, is it including in a managed service, just to be clear?
Oh, yes. So the license does include the managed service on AWS, with a certain configuration. If you obviously want to scale out or you want to scale up, that's for your own account. Or if you do want a self-hosted or on-premise solution, that's also for your own account. Then you lose out on the managed service you would have gotten. But the managed service that you get a front-end server and a database server.
Okay, brilliant.
Cool. Well, let's finish up. We will be on the next show, I think, next week again. We will throw in the end leader now, so hang in there because it's about 1 minute or so for the YouTube endings. See you next week.
Cheers.
Okay, cheers.